Welcome on, welcome all. We're having a quick, kind of informal, impromptu cast tonight. Just signed up for the in-house a little bit late, and thus I am not on the list of players. Thought it would be a good idea for me to go ahead and cast it. As a result, and thus we are in PWR Collective, Uncapped, In-house, Initiative versus Job Security. On the Radiant side is Initiative, Dire side Job Security, bans thus far, Witch Doctor, Clockwork from Initiative, one more to go, Puck, Meepo, Silencer, and Shadow Demon from Job Security. Teams in this particular league happen to, or people in this particular set of in-houses happen to like doing targeted bans, so unfortunately I'm not as familiar with the players yet, so I can't quite say if we are... I can't quite say if we're going to have as many targeted picks or bans. But we do get the Pudge, we do get ABBA. Pudge pretty popular from these in-houses from what I've seen. There are a couple players that like to specialize in it. I'm not sure exactly if one of those players is playing right now, but that is just kind of how it do be for me and my limited information. It's going to be a bit scuffed, but when are things not scuffed? Okay, Meepo's a Toby ban. I would feel that Meepo is a targeted one at the moment. Either way, you know, ABBA, very strong support right now. It happens to be my support of choice whenever I end up playing support to gain role queue games, so I happen to like it. Pudge is Pudge. Everyone knows Pudge. Everyone likes Pudge. Or hates Pudge. Whichever you want. Given any given moment. Bans also seeing Venge, Spiritbreaker. That Clop was the third ban of the first rotation from Initiative. Job Security. One ban in the second rotation. Really haven't seen a whole lot, but with ABBA being picked and Pudge being the pick on the other side here, I would expect like an AA ban, just making sure ABBA's actually able to do his job. They go for Bristleback instead. Maybe they know that the other players don't play AA, or maybe they just don't care about the potential of an AA interrupting the ABBA Ags. But either way, go ahead and go for the Lich. Probably the best support in the game right now, I'd have to imagine. Or at least from my experience, seems to be very, very strong presence in pretty much all ranks at the moment. Just generally strong, does the things you need him to do, can go 4-5. ABBA being played, though, means it's probably a 4-Lich 5 ABBA. I'd have to imagine. Now, Initiative is probably thinking, if one of their support players picks AA, do we want to pick it here? Just get the hard counter for the ABBA out of the way, but you know, in-houses, people are going to play what's comfortable, so if no one actually plays AA or no one really wants to play that side of the matchup, they're not going to do it. Which will give ABBA some pretty decent odds in this game. Instead they opt for the Enigma. There are definitely a lot of counters still on the table for the Enigma, so it's a bit early if you're going to pick this as an Enigma core. I would imagine you want to 18 pick that normally, but even if it's an Enigma support, I'd imagine you want to 18 pick it. It is likely an Enigma support with the Rubik pickup here. Yeah, Render plays AA mid. I would say it is likely an Enigma support or an Enigma core with the Rubik pick, which is a bit strange picking it this early. If Job Security has a Winter Wyvern core player, like it's a pretty easy Wyvern game, and then Enigma does nothing. But you also have, you know, Primal Beast. Definitely available. Not Primal Beast, excuse me. Beastmaster definitely available to deal with the Enigma with your BKB piercing stun. Typically, like if I see an Enigma as a 3 Wyvern player, like if I see an Enigma in the first part of the draft, I'm going to pick Wyvern every single time. Just because it's such a hard counter. But again, in-houses, do people actually play the core Wyvern? Do they want to actually put stock into it versus the Enigma? They don't have any BKB piercing stuns from this 2-3 pick, though, with the Invoker and the Dawnbreaker. which is a little bit concerning to me because if it is a core Enigma, he's going to be able to freely kind of go in as soon as he has BKB. You know, I would have the very least have picked a Beastmaster here from job security, so it is a little bit surprising to me to do that. But they go for the Void Spirit for initiative, so gonna use that to potentially win lane versus the Invoker. I'm imagining it's a Quas Wex game. Don't really have any setups for early Sunstrikes, so you're not going to be able to snowball off that. Void Spirit, still going to be able to do Void Spirit things, I think, pretty freely. This Enigma still going unanswered is a big question mark to me. Like, yeah, you kind of have save with the Dawnbreaker, but again, but once Enigma has BKB, and assuming this is, and we know this is a core Enigma now, because the Rubik is not going mid because there's a Void Spirit picked up. And Void Spirit 4 and Void Spirit 1 haven't been a thing in a long time. Does, to me, say both these teams are trying to pick ones. Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know about the Void Spirit. Like, Void Spirit 1 and 4 have not been a thing in a very long time, so, like, it's always going to be more likely in that mid position right now, and the Rubik going into support, and then you have Enigma as your core here, but technically it could still be a Pudge core, so it could be like a Pudge 3, Enigma 4, Rubik 5, in which case Enigma's not going to get BKB, and it's less of an issue for job security, but I've mostly been seeing Enigma being played 3 right now, and not as 4, and I think in this particular game, because they have no BKB or piercing stuns, and because there aren't really any ones that provide that to you, even as 24 picks, it really does give kind of a free reign for an Enigma 3 this game if they go for it. Job security, though, I mean, they have the opportunity to potentially flex this ABBA, right? Like, ABBA core isn't good right now, but you could potentially flex at 1 and then pick, again, like a Beastmaster or Winter Wyvern as not Beastmaster, but you pick like a Winter Wyvern as a support here. But not really something I would expect, to be honest. Just because ABBA 1 is kind of trash right now. Job security kind of has the ability to play whatever they want. It's interesting. But like initiative, like they have, I think, very solid ways with this initiation of the Enigma. Rubik has some good abilities to seal as well with Chain Frost and Solar Guardian, so really kind of a bit difficult to draft around for job security. They should have taken their sweet time on this one pick. I'm imagining they just go for something safe here. Yeah, DK. I'm surprised DK had not been banned out at all. He's the best one of the patch, and it's not even close. So this is just one of those things. Like, you know, DK is available, and I like Initiative's graph a lot. And job security doesn't really have any way to answer. Again, unless they flex this ABBA core and they pick like a Wyvern. But like, even at this point, right, they have 0 answers to Enigma with BKB, assuming it's a core Enigma. If it's not a core Enigma, then I feel like it's a wasted pick from Initiative. Like, it kind of has to be, because job security has no BKB piercing stuns. You want that blink BKB, then you can do whatever. I go for Drought Ranger. Again, pretty safe. Should be able to cut things out. Render on the Enigma, so I believe Render is a core player, if I'm not mistaken. Limix Void Spirit. So, if I remember correctly, Render's a core player. I might be completely wrong here, but definitely, to me, seems like the likelihood. So, what is that? Yeah, I just like the draft initiative a bit better. Like, again, you've got this Enigma that has been completely unanswered. You have a Void Spirit into the Invoker, which is always going to be a good lane matchup for you. And then you have DK is the best one right now. And, like, Drow Ranger does have answers to Dragon Knight, right? But she doesn't have answers to the rest of this squad. Like, she needs to go Aghanim Scepter this game. That's a really expensive item to be going. When do you actually go it? Because you still kind of need your Hurricane Pike, right? So you're looking at like an 8,000, 10,000 gold power spike for Drow Ranger versus Dragonite, who's going to be able to power spike on basically nothing. So, yeah, it to me seems like, you know, a little bit too little too late in this draft. I could obviously be wrong. We're in full mixed rank mode, so unlike the normal Tuesday in-houses, which are gated from Archon to Ancient, these are truly ungated flexes, so I believe we have some high MMR players here. If I'm not mistaken, Render is one of them. I forgot to swap my minimap back to the side that normal people play Dota with, so let's not think that I play with the minimap on the right, because I definitely don't, right? Right? Either way. Yeah, it's Core Enigma, so I was right on the money with that. Getting your penguin bashes in for good luck. I don't know, does this go for the do these get counted for the winter event? I'm actually not sure. Either way, just setting up, chilling. I'm just getting his 20 penguin hits. Meanwhile, playing anti-First Blood is job security right now. Yeah, preparing for the late invade. Invade comes the opposite way, though, so they're going to meet on this high ground. KO Hinatsuki far forward, but there's no real crowd control to keep him away from the rest of his team as Toby goes ahead and picks up that rune. Hook lands on the Winx. They're going back in onto the Drow Ranger, but they're still able to get the Pudge first. Winx ends up falling, and it was an Exhort first level from Thought Patrol, so he's not going to be having those points in Quas, which would have helped him a bit more. We'll end up losing 2 for it, but First Blood does end up going to the Radiant side. Initiative grabs that. They also grab one of the runes. They should be able to grab the second. So we'll end up being 2 runes apiece, and the gold ends up about even when it's all said and done. Still, first point Exhort, not something you really want as Invoker, generally speaking. But in this particular game, it is what it is. They thought they could secure First Blood with it instead. Wasn't able to kill the Pudge because the Pudge didn't kite back, or were able to kill the Pudge, and then end up losing the Drow for it. I did catch that wrong. It's First Blood to job security, so they end up 2 kills to 1, but 2 runes apiece. Got the Void Spirit into the Invoker matchup. Very nice for the Void Spirit. He now has the point in Quas, so he's able to now lane, but still going that first level in Exhort does lead to slight problems early on for that level 1. Either way. Lane's actually not super dynamic early on. We see Render taking a lot of damage from the Drow Ranger Frost Arrows. Kind of to be expected, don't have the extra range, but, you know, with more points of Maleficent and Demonic something, nearly getting that hook. Nice dodge by Winx. Welcome to the Thought Patrol Invoker experience. You know, Quas Exhort Invoker, I know, like, it's the fun version of the hero, right? But they don't really, like, this team doesn't have any setup for Sunstrikes, so this man actually just has to hit Sunstrikes like a god to make this Quas Exhort work. Otherwise, he's just going to regret not going Quas Wex. Dylan finds Faz bot side. Gets the pullback on a Fuzzy Bear. Telekinesis. Very nice to have. Here comes the Sunstrike, though. Doesn't hit onto Dylan, though. Barely dodges under the tower. Fuzzy Bear gets out with his life, but Toby is very happy about that because most of the wave ended up being denied to the larger wave from job security, so when it's all said and done, they get the kill, and they're going to have the farm advantage off this. Toby does not have any mana, but he's not too miffed about that right now. Runner sitting 12 and 4, the Draw Ranger 7 and 5. This is the power of the Enigma core right now. Just back into Enigma having incredibly broken laning, and obviously, again, like, once this man has BKB, there is nothing job security can actually do about this man except blow him up. I think it was a real missed opportunity when you had your 3 available to pick. 3 and mid available to pick, not picking any BKB piercing stuns at long range. I mean, obviously Winter Wyvern is the most obvious pick into Enigma, just because his Eidolons start killing him after you interrupt this black hole with your Winter's Curse, but in this particular instance, right, no, like, Core Wyvern isn't something a lot of people play, so at this point it's like, okay, you know, where's your core Beastmaster? And that's really a mistake. Hook's being made top side, taking out the Drow Ranger. Render is having a fantastic lane right now, 15 and 7 to 15 and 5. Meanwhile, the mid lane also winning for this Radiant side. Fuzzy Bear finds Dylan, playing to contest the creeps there, but Lumix sitting 21 and 17 to 6 and 4. Invoker really feels bad. And I find Gas topside too, so I mean, these advantages starting to stack up pretty early for initiative. These drafts are all done on balance shuffle, but that doesn't mean that the cores are always going to be the same rank going into any given experience. I would imagine that a lot of what's going on in this mid lane, because yes, Void Spirit is favored in the Invoker matchup and always has been, but in this particular instance, I'd have to imagine there's a bit of a rank discrepancy between these mids. Limix was playing in the last week's Tuesday, if I remember correctly. Was playing in last week's Tuesday's draft. So I know that he's mid MMR. I think he's Legend. Might be Ancient, might be Archon, but he's definitely mid MMR. Thought Patrol, though, I mean, if they're the same MMR, then like I might be completely wrong or off base on like saying this is an MMR gap, but like it does to me seem like Thought Patrol is not having the best of time in this lane. Does get a bit of damage on a Lunix, but he's just able to descend on the later lane. Again, 32 and 21 to 10 and 4. This is an absolute schlacking in the mid lane from Lumix. And I mean, again, Quas Exhort Invoker is the Invoker that needs to snowball, right? Because you have all these points in Exhort. If you don't get kills, you're not going to be able to make a huge amount out of anything here. He's setting 0, 0, and 2. Really just off those first bloods, and even with that, just way behind this lane. Again, Void Spirit favored, but it does to me seem like there's a bit of a skill gap. Funny thing is, Toby is probably less on his team. Well, I mean, Toby's having a pretty decent run at it. 16 and 1 to 27 and 7. Yeah, that really shouldn't be as bad. 10 CS is really not too bad when you're playing DK. Dylan almost gets Fuzzy Bear, but Toby should be able to take him down. Doesn't have a Breathe Fire up, though. No mana. Gets the stick back. A Breathe Fire onto Fuzzy Bear will kill him. He's trying to deny to these creeps, though. Toby PSG, can he get it in range? In time, just barely. Fuzzy Bear tries to get the rune and does for his death, but Toby PSG takes down the enemy core. 18 and 1, and Lumix finds Thought Patrol mid. Yeah, I mean, this is the losing lane for them, it looks like. The spot side, but it doesn't really matter because you're playing DK. And he's just gonna be able to farm back into the game, and yes, Slaughter is not the same anymore. Yeah, I mean, that's just, you know, a bit unfortunate, right? Like, mid lane is kind of the one matchup where having a rank discrepancy really hurts you. More than the other matchups, or having, because it's a 1v1 and it's very exposed lane. And this time around, it's also the counter pick. Faz ends up finding Dylan, Render finds Gas. But again, like, taking these lanes top, mid, and then bot side, even though as we look at the net worth, bot side is technically losing. It's only by about 300 gold, and the other two lanes are winning by over 1,000. So, you know, honestly, like, if I'm the DK here, it's like, yeah, I'm not having the best of time CSing in this lane, but, like, again, I'm not going to be too miffed. Once I have enough points in Worm's Wrath, I just go ahead and farm. I have Dragon's Blood, so I'm never going to die to jungle creeps.
Small adjustment.
So, cast roaming mid. No. No real answers for the ABBA this game, of being so early in the draft, but it really doesn't end up mattering too much. ABBA being poorest core, has to go a bunch of items before he, or typically ends up having to go like Holy Locket Solar Crest before he ends up completing the Aghanim Scepter, which is really what's the broken item on him right now, so doesn't feel great for him. They do end up getting the DK bot side, but the hook under tower into a black hole. Solar Guardian comes down. They're going to trade back around onto the Pudge, but they've already lost their core. Render in a bit of trouble, ends up getting a heal back up, and the Sunstrike does hit. Not a whole lot of damage off of that, though, but the gaze comes back into Faz. Render should end up going down here, gets a Malefice onto Gas, might be able to take him down with the Eidolons, and does! No, barely gets a shield off. Right in the nick of time, Aphotic Shield saves the day for Gas. Ends up being 2 for 1. The dive ends up not working out for initiative. Nice Solar Guardian, though, to make that work. Winx ends up coming bot. And thus, free bot. KO. Ooh. Winx ends up getting telekinesed out of the way of the hook after being hit by the Dragon Tail, so a bit of miscommunication there. Still, getting the ultimate onto Faz means that they should be able to give this kill over to Toby, and they do. Fuzzy Bear coming in with the triple hit of the hammer, but does not have any mana, still trying to burn back in. Toby tanking up quite a bit of tower damage right now, but he's DK, so he's pretty fine with that. Getting the kill on the Lich, not exactly who they wanted. They want to get that Drow there, but still, with that, Render's able to basically free hit topside, cut these waves, and just have the creeps do the rest under this tower. Render, I mean, he went Drums of Endurance first, going full Bongo Boots, so not even playing Blink BKB right now, because he's so far ahead, wants to be able to snowball that a little bit more, and doesn't really feel like he needs the Blink. Still getting gazed under tower, and the Lich comes back in with the Chain Frost, clears all the Eidolons, bounces to Render, only once though, so not a whole lot of damage goes on. The Eidolons get summoned once again, but Gas is here alongside Faz, and they're able to take down the Enigma after taking down a tower.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Nothing to your pile.
Under tower once again. Bye-bye. Stop patrol.
Dire's bottom tower has been denied. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Silence. No tower. Fuzzy Bear finds Rubik. Pudge just pudge things. No more damage on the Faz. Dragon Tail hook. Oh, Hinatsuki accept the kill. 13 kills to 10, but again a 3k gold lead. Pretty much all on farm and CS. This Invoker is worth less than 2 supports right now. It does not feel good at all.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But and again, going Quas Exort, you don't really have any setup for it. It just seems like a pretty big mistake here. He doesn't even have his Midas yet, 12 minutes into the game, so he's really struggling. And Render is playing hyper aggressively as the 3 right now. Almost has Bongo Boots, sitting about 1700 gold away from that, and then he'll probably go BKB. Again, just getting the uninterrupted ultimate as Lumix is running away with this game on the Void Spirit. Hook does not land on the Fuzzy Bear, hits a creep instead. But Lumix, he's got the completed Mage Slayer going Mantha, so going that right-click build that was ever so popular for a while when Void Spirit was being played position 1. Toby, meanwhile, has got Armlet going in towards that Mask of Madness. And Winks still building in towards that Hurricane Pike right now. Gonna have to be Hurricane Pike Ags, though, because even though DK ended up losing that lane, he's still only 400, 500 gold behind your richest core. And he will be a menace at some point in this game. Lumix making his way in onto Winks. The Solar Guardian comes down onto Dylan. He doesn't have level 6, so he can't steal that away, but he does get a telekinesis back on a Fuzzy Bear. He charges back in, ends up getting the kill on the Rubik, and now Lumix is all alone. Has to Astral Step away as the rest of the team starts TPing in, but Render's here. He's got his ultimate, gets the black hole back onto Fuzzy Bear. The hook lands from downtown onto the Drow Ranger. Winks goes down. 1 kill for Render, 1 kill for Lumix, and now Gas, Spaz, and Thought Patrol make their way into the fight. They end up getting the Chain Frost onto the Eidolons, but the hook lands onto Faz, and that is 3 for 0 in favor of Initiative topside, playing around their strong cores. Meanwhile, DK is just free farming and having the time of his life.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
It was a good Solar Guardian, but even after getting that Rubik down, Initiative had the rotations in right in time from Render on that Enigma, and really, there wasn't a whole lot job security could do after that. The supports just couldn't get there in time. They didn't have any hard CC to end up stopping Render's ultimate there. And the hook on to Thought Patrol. Goodbye. Nice play from KO Hinatsuki, and Render ends up taking this tower. Eidolon should finish it after the Frost Shield ends. Does. Gaze on a Render. Gas is here, both supports, but Dylan ends up stealing the Sinister Gaze, and they've still got more cores in the area. Lumix sees 2 supports, wants to go in, gets the Astral Step back on a Faz, tries TPing out of the way, but unfortunately for Lumix, he puts the Aether Remnant in the wrong direction. Blink ult on the Gas. He does have borrowed time available. They're gonna wait out the borrowed time. Thought Patrol on the backside of this, but the telekinesis pulls Gas back. In comes the Solar Guardian, tries to land onto 3, but the tornado stops it from stunning up Dylan. That's a bit of a mistake, and the Stolen Star Guardian almost comes through. They will be able to take down Render as well, so 2 go down. Toby ends up using his ultimate there, but now he has to kite away and tries to get away from the hammer. Gets the Dragon Tail out, but Zwinks is here. The Armlet toggle nearly keeps him alive, but the hook is a little bit too late on the save, and down goes 3 members of Initiative. Now Fuzzy Bear wants Lumix. Assimilate out of the way, wants none of that smoke. The DD rune going into the all-important Manta style. Winks still doesn't have his Ghost Scepter, and now Lumix dives into the backside, ends up finding Faz. Gas doesn't have his ultimate either. KO blinks in, looks for the ultimate on the Winks, who's trying to kite out with the Frost Arrows, but cannot make it happen. And 4 members of Job Security are dead. And he needs to get that Manta from Lumix. Not Ghost Scepter, excuse me. Bit of a casual scuffed stream, as it were. Casting the in-houses are always fun.
Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Fuzzy Bear's doing alright for himself on the Dawnbreaker. Has the Deso, 6 stacks going into the Sanjin Yasha, but still, again, like, Drow Ranger still doesn't have the 4-staff part of the Hurricane Pike ready. Needs the Hurricane Pike in order to actually survive any of these fights, and then has to immediately go Ags, and doing anything but is a huge mistake. You have to go this Ags on this Drow Ranger, because even though Toby is still the poorest core on his team, He is 4th highest net worth in the game. He is still Dragon Knight. He's still going to have Dragon Blood. And even though he's the lowest ranked core on initiative, he's still going to be a thorn in your side, just stat checking you at some point. Building in towards his own Sanjin Yasha. Link from Kaio Hanatsuki finds Winks off his ultimate. The Chain Frost comes down as well as the Solar Guardian. Stun onto 2, follow-up knock-up. Faz ends up getting the double kill off the Chain Frost, and 2 go down from initiative. Yeah, this Invoker is sitting 9th on the net worth chart. Ah, man, I mean, look, if he's having fun, then it's like all good, right? It just, to me, I feel like this would suck a lot as Invoker. You're only sitting on Midas, having to go, like, going the Aghanim Scepter with no setup for it on the rest of your team does feel a little bit trolly to me. Anyway, Drums of Endurance didn't complete the Bongo Boots and someone straight for the Blink Dagger. But now still has the rest of the Bongo Boots queued up, and then the BKB as always. No more points in Drums of Endurance though, so he has to complete Bongo Boots before he gets BKB. Otherwise the item is just 7 strength, 7 intelligence, and 20 movement speed to allies. Remember rebuying Drums recipe? Those were the days. Oh, my Drums of Endurance are out. Guess I got a rebuy Drums recipe to refresh it. It was such a stupid mechanic. I am so glad they added Bongo Boots to the game, honestly. Because it makes Drums actually a viable item, and you don't have to constantly be rebuying stuff. And you can be more liberal with your Drums usages as well, so. Do you like that decision from Bell? Toby, my dude, hit your Mask of Madness while you're taking Roche. Oh, the Dawnbreaker knows exactly what's going on right now. Pudge ends up ulting Roche to stop him from going through the portal, but he's still going to be able to do that. The Dawnbreaker and company ended up taking the shard for gas. So they know this Roche is going down, they know it's coming bot, but they're just not going for it at all. Give the Aegis over to Lumix. Has that Manta. Extremely strong, richest core in the game right now. The Drow has brought himself back even with Toby. Yeah, Drums did used to be so useless. It's good though, like I like the way that I like the addition of Bongo Boots. I like a lot of the gameplay additions Valve has made. A lot. Link Hook from KO Hinatsuki doesn't quite hit him, but Lumix ends up going on to gas, forces the borrowed time. Thought Patrol is currently ghost walked up right next to Lumix, but doesn't have a whole lot of anything. Chain Frost clears the Eidolons, bounces back to Lumix, bounces back to Render. He's very low right now, doesn't have the ability to ult if he wants to, and Faz survives. They come back with the Solar Guardian, they get the Aegis off of Lumix, but in comes Toby. He's trying to get the damage through the extra shots from his passive. Thought Patrol ends up getting hit by the hook by KO as Winks is very low, gets dove almost past the gate. Fuzzy Bear ends up taking down the Dragon Knight in the meantime, though. Ends up going 3 for 2, buyback used by job security. But they do get the Aegis off of Lumix.
Bounty.
6k net worth advantage, 22 minutes. Win prob sitting 73%. I haven't been able to push their advantage too much, so that's why it's pretty much stayed the same here.
Radiant's top tower
As it bears the completed Sanjin Yasha, Lumix looking for a bit of a solo kill right now on the Solar Guardian herself. Tries to get the Aether Remnant, doesn't quite land it, and has to back off. Meanwhile, bot side. Fast Thought Patrol and Gas. Looking for KO Hinatsuki and maybe Render. Dylan's here though. He's got the stolen Chain Frost. Pulls it back on a Thought Patrol, and Faz ends up getting caught by one of the golems though, and Thought Patrol ends up surviving just barely. Dylan ends up falling. Link hook from KO finds Faz. He's able to get the ult off before he fades in, but in comes the Solar Guardian once again. The stun on the KO, but the turnaround with the black hole interrupted by Winx' silence. Faz goes down, so does KO, and so does Render. Oh no. It was a good black hole, but he didn't find the drow, and you still don't have BKB. Has to go that next item. I don't think this Vlad's was necessary. Really, like... Okay, sure, boots, bongo boots, blink dagger, sure, but this Vlad's, you could already be halfway to your Aghanim, or to your BKB right now, and if you have BKB, you just straight up win that fight. So, yes, Vlad's good on Enigma, but also you just have to get BKB against this squad. The only things that stop you are this Drow Silence and a handful of stuns, man.
Bounty.
That was a good black hole though, but just not good enough. Now, 2 out of the top 3 net worth are job security. Granted, this Invoker is still worth as much as the supports right now, but, you know, they weren't able to snowball the DK, wasn't able to farm back up. They played too many fights, and now Lumix sitting alone at the top of the net worth chart, and Render just unable to contribute as much as he was with the early lead. Just some itemization mistakes from him. Still trying to play that aggressive 3, but really... I will say I don't agree with the Winx Silver Edge here, because Silver Edge does not actually break Dragon Blood. Or it does break Dragon Blood, excuse me, but I forgot they kept the Dragon Blood being breakable when they moved it to as a knight, but you know, breaking the Dragon Blood is fine and all. I don't know. Silver Edge versus Aghanim Scepter, like, either way you build an item second, that's going to have to deal with the DK. My preference is still going to be Ags most of the time, just because you also have a Pudge on the enemy team, and it enables you to deal with him a bit more, because this Pudge is very scary right now, even as just a plus 4. But I don't hate the Silver Edge. It obviously is the same idea as going Aghanim Scepter second item, just a way to deal with the Dragon Knight, who is this kind of inevitable force in the match. But even that, he is way too far forward from the rest of his team. Gets stunned up, and the hook does not save him. Ends up pulling Fuzzy Bear under tower. Gets the ultimate off of the Pudge. Lumix steps into the fight. Now 3v4, but he's stopped by an Ice Wall from Thought Patrol. Nice play by the Invoker there. Render continuing to push this bot lane with the Eidolons. YouTube is dropping like 1.6% of frames right now, so it is better than the last time I tried streaming on YouTube. That said, the last stream I was trying to do on YouTube was an H.264 stream, which is just because my converter box can't do AV1. The stream that's going to YouTube right now is AV1, so that's pretty nice. KO finds the Blink ult onto Lich. Has to get out of dodge, but Lumix got an Invis rune, has eyes on all 4 of these members of job security. Solar Guardian is up and available, so any fight would be X versus 5. Lumix spotted on Vision, though. Caught by the Sinister Gaze, assimilates out of the way, and the Lich Chain Frost ends up expiring on the Spire. Play that 5 times fast. We got the Sanj and Yasha coming out on Courier right now. still only 4K net worth advantage for initiative right now. Job security are really, really coming back into this game pretty effectively. Astral Ranger now sitting third in net worth charts once again. And top net worth has been traded back and forth between Lumix and Fuzzy Bear. Yeah, Thought Patrol really hasn't had a huge impact on the Invoker, and he's still got Aghanim Scepter, which is, I think, a bit of a useless item at the moment, but he is now broken free from his support jail. He is higher net worth than the Pudge. Okay, Natsuki. Again, 849 on the Pudge, sitting 14 flex sheet stacks. Those feel pretty nice. Lumix and Fuzzy Bear, though, end up passing each other topside. Fuzzy Bear trying to dive for this creep wave. Lumix is playing a Vision and Denial game right now. WPSG does have the completed Sanj and Yasha. I think that Silver Edge is already complete, and in fact it is from Wings. Going double crit item, though, with that data list. Gas ends up getting the borrowed time taken out of him.
Radiant structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower.
Toby's got a DD, though, but the TP's coming in topside for Fuzzy Bear. They really want to get this Dawnbreaker. Nice Force Staff into hook. Fuzzy Bear caught in the low ground right in the river, and now being taken down by that Pudge ult. Toby ends up getting the kill credit there. And is that high net worth individual taken off of Job Security's side for 57 seconds, no buyback. No Solar Guardian does mean that things could be a little bit dicey, but they do find the Enigma on the other side of the map. Toby goes ahead. Pops the Elder Dragon form, pushes up on the high ground. TP stopped by Lumix. Winx comes back into this. The Abba making his way into the fight. The hook doesn't quite land on any heroes, only a creep. Looks has to assimilate out, and they continue pushing this high ground, laying siege. 22 seconds on the Dawnbreaker, 21 seconds on this Enigma right now, but the Dawnbreaker has the easier way into the fight.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Still, 5k net worth advantage for initiative. Pretty much all because this Invoker's so far behind, but again, like, this early bright spot of the Enigma, just delaying this BKB is going to be a decision that haunts him for the rest of this game. Now should have the BKB coming out on Courier because he has enough gold for the recipe there.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But, man, with BKB, a couple of those fights are very different, I think. Tornado EMP onto Toby. Cold Snap as well. Probably still getting out of this one. Doesn't have a BKB of his own at the moment, but has components of it. Talking about 1,400 gold. No, not 14. Like 1,200 gold away from it. Not 1,200. I'm not doing my math at all. It's like 1,800 gold away from it. Wow. My math ain't mathing. Either way, KO Natsuki finds the blink on the gas. Pulls out the borrowed time. Tornado comes in, gets up the Pudge. They are able to pull back gas with the telekinesis, but the hook doesn't quite land on the gas. Goes the wayside. Now they got the break on the render, moving back out of the way, but Lumix decides he's hungry for more. Wants Faz. He's able to get and Glimmer away. Another blink, another hook. KO. Pulling that one out onto the lich, but he does have buyback and he does have Chain Frost available, so this high ground siege is still pretty difficult for them. Lumix trying to get towards his Aghanim Scepter right now. Toby PSG has his ultimate if they want to actually push this high ground, but it is very dicey for them. And he still doesn't have BKB up, still sitting about 1,200 gold away from that. The Lich buys back immediately as the high ground siege starts. Now Toby PSG has to run away, gets force staffed by his Pudge. They forced the Lich buyback, and they haven't been able to get anything else out of that, but that might just be enough.
Dire are scanning.
And now, Oh, another hook on a gas. He doesn't have his ultimate up and available to him, but in comes the Solar Guardian and the Black Hole onto 3, but the Cataclysm comes down, stops him in his traps. Lumix goes down. Toby trying to run away now, but he can't get away from the combined might of the Frost Arrows and the chain of frost that came down across the rest of the team. The cores are dead, the supports are dead, and Keiyo Hinatsuki gets out just barely. Oh my word, they greeted for the Tormentor, they get it, but they end up losing everything for it. It was a nice black hole, but what? Hello, Thoughtvoker? Thought Patrol? Actually, that Cataclysm ended up being massive for them. So that was like a 200 IQ play. I just didn't see it, man. I'm sorry I doubted you. I'm sorry I doubted you, Thought Patrol. Oh, man. Link hook. Alright, Thought Patrol was a little bit too far forward there. But yeah, that win prob. Oof. Got all the way from 67% down to 38% for this Radiant side. You know what? I didn't believe in it. I did not believe in the Thoughtvoker. All right, I'm beginning to believe here. All right, he's almost brought himself back up to Render's net worth. What an unfortunate fight for initiative, but man, oh man, that's just mega greed for the Christmas bell. Not gonna lie. These Tormentors. Man, oh man. I'm going for that Item Scepter from Render. I mean, I like the Wind Prob's spiking back their way just because they're able to farm more efficiently here. The Invoker went down, realistically speaking. I mean, the Drow Ranger sitting number 2 in the net worth, about to go back up to number 1 in the net worth. Has a completed data list, Silver Edge, Hurricane Pike, like she's ready. And they're scanned out on Roshan. And now spotted out. They know exactly what they're up against. The question is, do they even risk it? So he's gonna get that Aegis onto Lumix. Toby PSG, does he have something on his card? No, he has his BKB. He got his BKB. But Lumix ends up picking up this Aegis.
It fills me with nothingness. Lost.
Honestly, what? This is the glory of mixed strength, though, right? Games are less predictable because all of a sudden you've got this battle of Juggernaut cores early on, and then one of the cores ends up falling, just making a couple mistakes that are a bit more marginal in terms of their decision-making skills, and then all of a sudden, like, you've got the core that you absolutely dumpstered in the lane coming back into the game pretty effectively, and now it's just stat checking the rest of your team. As I say that, though, Render just gets completely stat checked by Fuzzy Bear. Even if he BKB'd, he was gonna not be able to get out of that. Nice save from Keiyo Hinatsuki, but still they're able to get this Chain Frost off. Fuzzy Bear gets the stun onto KO, down goes the Pudge, and Toby continuing to run away. He doesn't have any mana, he does have an armlet, but if the rest of this team continues to push up, they might be able to stop him. That was a very nice Chain Frost from the Lich there, too. Telekinesis on a Fuzzy Bear. Gets the Spell Steal out as well. Lumix chops in with the Dissimulate available to him to get out of dodge. The Resident Pulse lands the Silence. Comes back in with the Astral Step on the gas. Still has his ultimate available to him, though. Still an Aphotic Shield. His island does have the Aghanim Scepter up. game is pretty dead even now. But honestly, though, I mean, initiative's just been on the back foot this entire time. You could say they might lack initiative here. And down goes Toby. Gets caught by a Sunstrike. That one's here. I'll look for the save. And the DK ends up, 5 people go on him, and he does tank up a Chain Frost. He survives. Hook right onto Fuzzy Bear. Still, he has the Lincolns, though, and it had to get popped. Caught back by an Aether Remnant as Lunix ends up dying in the black hole onto 2. Render's got the BKB, so there's no way to stop this one now, but he still doesn't get any kills off of it, and immediately dies to the Drow Rangers. Thought Patrol gets dove by Lumix on the back, so the fight with the Cataclysm's already come down, and Fuzzy Bear is just rampaging through KO right now. Winx has done pretty much all the damage he can. Fuzzy Bear saved by the ABBA once again, but he gets hooked. Still doesn't matter, though, as the rest of the fight will turn out for job security. The Aegis right into the silence. The gaze once again. Faz trying to dive away from the Dragon Knight. He ends up going down, but it's a double kill for Winx. 3 for 4. The Aegis is gone. KO, once again, the last member of his team alive on that Pudge. And it was a good black hole on 2, but he just no follow-up damage from the rest of his team. The Dragon Knight just all the way away from that black hole, and same thing with the Void Spirit. And then he just immediately gets chunked out by Winx in that fight.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Feeling pretty strong right now is that Drow.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
I still stand by that I like Initiative's draft more. I honestly think they just messed up their execution. They had this lead early. But, individual mistakes. Obviously, this is in houses, so, quite honestly, right, like, unless you have some god shot caller that knows everybody on the team, like, individual mistakes are going to show through quite a bit. And we kind of see that play out for Initiative this game. And then all of a sudden, like, you're 41 minutes into this versus a Drow Ranger, and your Dragon Knight is just significantly further behind now, 8,000 gold. Just didn't farm fast enough, early enough, played too early for a couple of fights. That was bad team decision making. But now they're really paying the price because this man's only got a Sanjinyash and a BKB trying to get into that data list right now. But the Drow is just absolutely chunking through everyone on Initiative. And, like, you're getting to the point where Drow's just stat checking your entire team. Yeah, 65% win prop for job security. I would honestly say this is closer to 80%, just due to the momentum and the fact that Initiative just hasn't been able to get a single good fight this entire time. The Black Holes have been okay. They've been good enough, but they haven't been good setups for the rest of the team. The rest of the team just hasn't been able to capitalize on top of them, and when you have an ability like that your team is just unable to capitalize on just due to positioning or lack of communication, it really, really hurts you.
Radiant are scanning.
Okay, Hanatsuki might find Winx, though.
Tower is under attack.
Gets the hook just barely. 4 staffs away. Goes invisible, but stopped, pulled out. In comes the Solar Guardian, though. Winx now half health, and the Cataclysm does a lot of damage, actually. Lumix trying to dive back on top of Winx. Tries to get away with the Astral Step, now dissimulating as Toby PSG just does damage to Fuzzy Bear, but in comes the Chain Frost. Once again, they've got the stun onto Winx. Down goes the Rubik. The Pudge is bought back. Render just being taken down so low by this Chain Frost right now as Winx does all the damage needed to the Dragon Knight. And that is, such a story, man. From 76%, 77% win prob, now down to 29% for Initiative. Look. And he's got Refresher too. This man literally only plays for Cataclysm. Honestly, Chad move. I mean, it's not a good Cataclysm game at all. But honestly, this man does one thing and he knows what he wants and he does it. Right? Goes Midas Ag's Refresher. What more can he ask for on Invoker? Chain Frost. Somewhere. On to Lumix and KO. Ends up holding on to Lumix. They should be able to take down the Pudge for a dieback, and they do.
You're probably feeling some disappointment right about now.
I mean, honestly, it's... you know... I was starting to believe. I really have been converted over the course of one game. Why one Sunstrike when many Sunstrikes better? Why one Sunstrike when I can have 20 Sunstrikes all at once? Think about that. Lumix trying to get into that data list as well. Dragon Knight. I don't even think he's going to be able to get this data list by the end of the game. He's just playing way too scared. The only person on this team that's actually getting farm right now is... is 2 and 3. Yes. He'll be taken down by Lumix, or at least into his ultimate. And Fast comes in with the Sinister Gaze. Has the Chain Frost available to him in a couple seconds. Well, he already had it up, but didn't use it off the pillar. Quick Dissimulate and Astral Step away. Lumix stays alive. But yeah. Just... mistakes. I mean, Swift play. This is where we're at with Winx right now. Man has a greater healing Lotus right now in place of his magic wand. We'll eventually swap that out with a Swift Blink. It's just kind of insane to think about. I mean, from an absolutely abysmal Drow lane to this level. I mean, well played, good mental fortitude from Winx to make that happen. Roshan is up. It is top side, and it is being started by Fuzzy Bear. Kind of carried the team on his back early on with very pivotal Solar Guardians and making sure things worked out for him. And that Aegis over to Winx for Sean's banner as well. Got cheese. Was there a cheese on? That was third row. Should have been a cheese, right? I must be misremembering things. This is Dire Side. Third Roche. Huh. That's a refresher word. That's not a refresher shard. For Sean's banner.
Radiant's top tower is
I'm
under
missing
attack.
something. Maybe they just took a cheese and eat it. I don't know. Yeah, Natsuki.
Dire's middle tower.
I don't make the hook connector. They get the telekinesis. Coming in to say hi is Render with a nice Malefice, but pretty much only that. He's going to Refresher himself and then Octarine. WPSG getting close to his Daedalus. Might have it one more time. The hook on the Fuzzy Bear, but the TP comes back in and they got the Chain Frost on the 3. It's ravaging through the rest of this team as the Cataclysm goes down. Render's too low. So is Toby. The hook to save Toby, but Render ends up falling, and now Dylan and Lumix are on the run. They try to get back into Gas, end up forcing the borrowed time. They take down the Lich now. Gas, though, I mean, you see this Chain Frost bouncing back and forth. They find the Rubik. Gas is dominating. Buyback from Render. He does not have the black hole. It was interrupted in the middle of that fight. Fuzzy Bear dives under this T3 tower, ends up falling for it, but buys time for Winx to get into the fight. Nearly takes down Toby PSG, but barely does not. Oh, bloody, 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 bloody. But the fight goes the way of initiative, and now Lumix wants his way onto this Trowel Ranger, wants to get this Aegis, but the tornado comes through, and now the buybacks are here. He cannot kill Winx right now. Sitting on an Eagle song back in the stash, needs to be able to get the Swift Blink. Wants to get the Swift Blink as soon as the Aegis, the Immortal's gone. It's absolutely unbelievable. There is nothing Lumix is able to do right now. And Winx, once again, gets the break onto Toby. Dodges out of the way of the hook. Doesn't have a whole lot of mana to his name, but he's playing this triangle right now. He's playing with fire and ice.
Illusion.
My, oh my.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Bounty.
Fresh meat.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
Probably ends up pulling Fuzzy Bear, kind of on his own. He's in the edge of Render. They're pushing up on this high ground. The hook lands onto Gas. He does have the borrow time available to him. The taunt onto Winx right now. Still has the Aegis the Immortal. Gets Force Staff back to the low ground. Should be able to take Gas at least the borrowed time here. They don't have the Dawnbreaker up. She doesn't have buyback. And she doesn't have Solar Guardian because there's no buyback. At the moment, this high ground push ends up failing. Cataclysm does some damage, but really not enough to dissuade them from killing Gas. Take a look at the buyback status right now. Everybody who can, everybody who has buyback off of cooldown has it available to them and can afford. At the same time, everyone can afford buyback except for Abba and Fuzzy Bear. Buyback from the Invoker now. I mean, Fuzzy Bear. It's such a pivotal pick, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to observe that. My observation skills are not the best. I'm dropping the Roshan's banner to defend the high ground a little bit more, but they get the die back onto the Invoker, perhaps, but they get Lumix first! So that's most of the gold gone from initiative right now. Winx still has most of their gold and the Aegis available, but Render has got the two-man black hole, but there's no follow-up for the rest of his team whatsoever. Gets hooked back to safety. The tornado stolen from Dylan comes in and stops this in its tracks. 22 seconds on the Solar Guardian herself. And the health bars are so low. Render does not have another black hole. He does not have a refresher orb available to him, but you know who does? It's the Invoker, who died back in that fight. The high ground has been broken by initiative. 77 to 64 now. In terms of that all important Dota Plus net worth, or Dota Plus win prob. This game is going the distance, 52 minutes now, with no clear end in sight. Honestly, I mean, it's a good high ground defense. It was a good pick onto the Dawnbreaker and a good high ground defense. Link's now sitting with that Swift Link. Sitting with a Greater Healing Lotus in inventory instead of the Power Treads. Kind of a Chad move. Also, oh, that's what... Okay, they got the Aghanim Scepter from Roche there. the Aghanim's... Okay, I see. Winx has Ags. I didn't notice it. I honestly did not notice. I mean, that was from Roche, right? I had to be, because it was third Roche. But yeah. Now go on that Moon Shard. Fuzzy Bear onto Toby. Render here doesn't have the ultimate for another 18 seconds. In comes the Chain Frost, stolen from Rubik. Joking Havoc onto Winx and Fuzzy Bear right now. Fast trying to make his way into the fight and gets the Chain Frost of his own down, but the Drow ends up falling and doesn't have the Aegis anymore. They've taken down the Dawnbreaker as well, and now Thought Patrol BKB tries to get out of this one. He doesn't have buyback either. As the hook comes in, the Black Hole onto 2. Faz going to be taken down by the DK. Render with the double kill, and now Thought Patrol all on his own. No buybacks, no way in. And it ends up being a wipe for 1 in favor of Initiative. They only have a buyback on this Drow Ranger available, and that means that they should be able to just win the game here. If they take the creep wave to the tower, ignore the towers and the barracks, and just go straight for these T4s, there won't be a glyph available. But instead, they're going to go for the safer play and try to play for Megas. I mean, I don't know if there's a safer play than just going for the throat right here, but you are going to give them another glyph of fortitude.
Has fallen. Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
A push coming in for these
Dire's middle
T4s.
barracks has fallen. Dire's structures are
Here comes the glyph. I think this game's over. I honestly think this game's over. It really depends. They just got to hit the towers. They have to have realized there are no buybacks available, and they can definitely take down this Ancient in the next 22 seconds. The Drow finally buys back. Last member of his team alive available to do so. Blinks in, tries to push him off of that high ground, but it does not matter. It's too little. It's too late. Down goes the Ancient. Initiative take the first game of tonight's in-house. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I might be streaming game number 2. I might not. We will see. But until then, we'll be right back.